Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called A Fair Review. I have been waiting for a return parcel to be collected, going on 3 days. In South Africa, we don't leave anything outside, as it will be stolen. You have to be present to collect or give a parcel. I logged the return on a Saturday and received a message they will collect it before 5 PM on Monday. I had a doctor's appointment, so I requested the driver to come later. He gave me an attitude and never pitched. I received the same message for Tuesday, only no driver at all. I received a message that they tried to collect from me, but it failed. They did not even come. Now it's a second day gone, where I had to wait around for a driver to not pitch. It's now 3 days, and I'm livid. The message about the fake attempt set me off. I contacted the company and complained, and the agent sent me the same message about it being collected before 5 PM that I've already been sent. I felt like he didn't take my complaint seriously, or understood why I can't wait around all day anymore. I offered to change the option to dropping it off, but they refused. So when the email to give feedback arrived, I gave him a bad report. I felt he didn't take the complaint seriously, and that the least they could have done was to ensure the driver arrived first thing to collect or give me an ETA. He then emailed me to tell me my feedback wasn't fair, and that I should give a more fair feedback, as he feels he did his best to help me. His best? By just emailing me the same message I'd already received 3 times? So I complied. I gave him the feedback he actually deserved. His best? How is telling me the same thing I've been told for 3 days now the best? The best would be to pick up the phone and send the driver to my address first thing. He could have taken the attitude the driver gave me seriously and apologized for it and for the delay. He did not. He could have understood that I couldn't put my life on pause for a 3rd day to wait for a driver, and at least get an ETA from the driver. Like, yeah. I also changed the feedback heading from issue unresolved to agent has a bad attitude. The cheek to tell me to give him a more fair review when my initial one wasn't even unfair was over the top. So he got an even more fair one. I just want my parcel collected and my refund processed so that I can buy another item to replace it. Why a driver had to cause so much drama, only he will know. And now an agent made it worse. Said agent had not emailed me since. However, within an hour, the driver pitched up. Outcome accomplished. The next story is called Matrix Management. This was a few years ago. I work in wireless sales, and they use a social media style texting app to attempt to keep employees engaged with all other sales associates company-wide. When they introduced it, they did so under the assumption that using it would be completely optional. That pretty much backfired, because almost nobody was using it, or they weren't using it as it was intended. At this point, I had a real blowhard district manager who thought he should be idolized by the management and sales associates below him. When he noticed nobody was really using it, he decided to put pressure on all his store managers. He said if the employees didn't use it, it showed a lack of inspirational leadership on the part of the store managers. This was a way of guilting us all into using it, so he would become number 1 in usage. At this point, my store manager just asked us to use it so he would be left alone. I hated, and still hate, the expectation that I should be required to shout out sales from my store. To me, it's like we were all hired to do a job. Management doesn't think we can do said job we were interviewed and hired for, so they need constant visibility on sales. Fine. I created a generic shoutout, employee sold item, and then accompanied the message with the most condescending good job gif I could find. That part worked, and our district manager was mostly off our back about that for the remainder of his tenure with us, which thankfully wasn't much longer after this all started. From that point, we all thought we were in the clear from constantly needing to use the app. We were wrong. The interim district manager was a store manager who was trying to get the position. He was doing the work of a store manager for his store, and the district manager for our district. And he was so much worse. He found a way to run a report that would break down each individual app usage and the number of messages they would put in the chat. He began putting that info out in district-wide emails, calling out the lower 25% as needing to do better with engagement. Of course, I was almost always on the bottom, because I only put my generic message and GIF into the chat when sales happened. I was never engaged with other people in threads or direct chats, because I didn't care. Since now it became purely a numbers game to the interim DM, I played the numbers. After the first few weeks of those emails where I was at the bottom, I decided to try something. I found a chat message that nobody replied to from earlier in a week that the report wasn't run for. I picked a lyrically heavy song and proceeded to reply to the chat in an individual thread, one word per message at a time, until the entire song was put into the thread. Sure enough, at the end of that week, I jumped from nearly last in usage to exponentially more than anyone else in usage. The interim DM never questioned it or checked why I jumped so high so fast. Every week I'd pick a new song and type it out word by word in a blank chat feed. And every week I would be shouted out for my exemplary app usage and how more people should be engaged as much as I was. We still use our chat app, and we are still voluntold that we have to be engaging in it. But I'm back to my generic message with the same GIF over and over anytime there's a sale, since that interim never became our DM. The new ones since don't check the usage report anymore. Sales are dumb. Metrics are dumber. When the metric becomes the goal over the actual sale, the metric is the problem. The third story is called No Smoke Break. I first started working at 17 as a housekeeper cleaning condos in downtown Toronto. It wasn't a bad gig. The building was under construction, finishing units and such, so there was quite a bit of dust, but other than that, it was fairly easy work. At the time, I was getting above minimum wage. I was the only cleaner in the building, but I was good friends with the security guards and would hang out with them on most of my breaks. They were all smokers, and I noticed that they were taking small breaks. So if I happened to be near them when they were taking a smoke break, I would hang out with them. My boss was a sweet guy, but he did casually mention that the smoke breaks are for smokers only, and I couldn't just hang out with them. The next break I had, I sat down with the security guards, and they joked that I should just have a cigarette in my hand, but not actually smoke it. That's when I decided to be a little bit creative. The next day, I came into work with a small pack of sparklers. I kept them in my pocket, and when I saw the security guards taking a smoke break, I went out with them. I pulled out a sparkler, lit it up, and just kind of stood there with them as the sparkler went off. We all had a good chuckle about it. The boss saw me and came outside, probably to talk to me about not taking a smoke break if I wasn't a smoker. Then he saw the sparkler in my hand. The security guards pointed out that technically I was smoking, as the sparkler was producing little bits of smoke. The boss laughed it off, apologized and said that as long as I get my work done, I can take smoke breaks with the others with or without the sparklers. The last story is called I Don't Listen to Women. I'm a woman in retail merchandising, which skews males in terms of employment statistics. Most guys I work with are okay, but as the company started, they literally took anyone who was signing on the day the recruiter visited the job center. That's how they got me. The agencies we use to bulk numbers are even less picky. Some of the guys are not ideal co-workers. On many of our jobs, there's a no smoking in the delivery yard rule. Unless that's where the smoking shelter is, you don't smoke out there. One client does not allow smoke breaks between 11 PM and 6 AM either, which irritates many of my coworkers. If you get caught slipping into the yard for a crafty one, you are removed from the job, and possibly even the contract if you are a frequent offender. Cutest guy, we'll call him Puff. He's a smoker with an attitude toward health and safety. He was already kicked off of multiple contracts for things like climbing racking or throwing things that should not really be yeeted in the direction of other people. On this occasion, I was the only woman on the team, and the only non-smoker. As a non-smoker, I had more freedom of movement than the guys. I was the only one allowed to take cards out the front door, and the only one allowed out unsupervised in the yard. You don't realize how many shopping carts a store has until you've used almost all of them to empty 3 aisles of stock that are being moved around. Now, no one liked Puff. He was rude and a nightmare to be around. And he was a jerk toward women. I don't listen to women, he had been heard to say, and the team leader knew it. But he had to be caught misbehaving by the store manager before he could be removed from the site. One of the things we needed to do, because the fitters didn't care, was to throw the old shelves and brackets in the skip. The thing was an industrial one, nearly twice my height, and the end was closed. You had to throw things into it. Shelves are metal. and these ones were about 5 feet wide and 25 inches deep. I could lift them and maneuver them into place, but throwing them that high solo? Not a chance. The guys could manage it though. I was always sent out with one of the guys and told to make sure they didn't smoke. The team leader and most of the guys knew I'd turn a blind eye to a few quick drags in the shadow of the skip, but everyone was getting fed up with Puff and his attitude problem. So the team leader sent me off with another pellet of mixed chaffs and brackets, which were light enough for me to throw, and sent Puff trailing after me. Puff was happy to do so, realizing it was an opportunity for him to smoke. Only instead of ducking behind the skip, where he'd be out of sight of both the cameras and the warehouse door, he leaned against it in full sight of both and sparked up. You know, you might want to go around the back so you're not spotted. I don't listen to women, was the predictable reply. And he leaned there, slowly smoking, in plain sight. I saw movement in the warehouse, a silhouette. I said nothing. What do you think you are doing? You are not allowed to smoke out here. Why are you letting him smoke? He doesn't listen to women. The manager, needless to say, didn't want Puff to even finish the shift. And with most clients having red carded him for various reasons, he was asked to find alternative employment. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.